introduce the most futuristic technology on the planet.
The $10,000 technology, Neuralink, which is a computer chip surgically implanted into the brain, enabling people like Nolan here to reconnect to the world. So you were paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah, and for about 8 years, I was trying to find some purpose in my life.
And then you got Neuralink, and what has that changed?
Anything anyone can do on a computer, I can do.
And he literally does it by using only his brain. You are currently moving that with your thoughts.
Yeah, man.
I want to see you send a text with your brain.
Okay.
His hands are paralyzed, but we're going to film them so you can see they're not moving. And using the neurons firing in Nolan's brain, Neuralink can translate those signals into movements. He just typed hi with his mind. Is this not crazy to anyone else? But that's not all he can do. So you just think left, and you're about to turn left.
Left, right, don't die.
No.
There we go.
He absolutely crushed us playing with only his mind.
I never thought would allow me to do anything like this.
And future technology can not only help the mind, but also the body.
I would say the biggest question from central banks is what is the role of tokenization and digitization? How quickly should they think about digitizing their own currency? What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have, what does that mean for bank payments? We're not spending enough time talking about how quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset and the opportunity we're going to have a digital wallet and moving, ETFs and other things through a digital wallet. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly. And I think most countries are ill prepared for that.
CBDCs are what they're going to do. They're going to introduce CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies, for those who don't know what that means. And then they can control all the money. So they can stop you being able to spend money in certain areas, which restrict you geographically, or spend money on certain things. They're going to introduce CBDCs. Now, for you at home who doesn't know what a CBDC is, it's very simple. It's a centralized digital banking currency. And such centralized bank digital currency, and what it's going to do is going to allow them to have absolute control of the money, so they can control it with a time limit, 1, forcing you to spend it or not allowing you to spend it, 2, they can control it geographically, and 3, they can control what you can and can't buy.
No meat, no gas.
Yeah, you can't buy meat, you can't buy gas. Oh, you can't travel to this area. Well, you can't buy a train ticket to this area because there's a protest over there. We don't want you to protest. They're going to control you. They're going to get you by the bank strings, and they're going to strangle you.
I would say the biggest question from central banks is what is the role of tokenization and digitization? How quickly should they think about digitizing their own currency? What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have, what does that mean for bank payments? What does that mean for the payment companies like MasterCard and Visa? All these are being questioned right now. I think we spend so much time talking about AI. We're not spending enough time talking about how quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset and the opportunity we're going to have a digital wallet and moving, ETFs and other things through a digital wallet. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly. And I think most countries are ill prepared for that and underappreciate how technology is changing that. Not unlike how technology is changing AI and other things. It will be changing the technology around the plumbing of finance.
It's harder to scale on the ground than it is to scale in space. Any given solar panels can do about 5 times more power in space than on the ground. So it's actually much cheaper to do in space. My prediction is that it will be by far the cheapest place to put AI will be space in 36 months or less, maybe 30 months.
36 months?
Less than 36 months. You can mark my words. In 36 months, but probably closer to 30 months, the most economically compelling place to put AI will be space. And then it will get ridiculously better to be in space. Once you start thinking in terms of what percentage of the sun's power are you harnessing, you realize you have to go to space. You can't scale very, very much on Earth.
But by very much, to be clear, you're talking like terawatts.
Yeah. Well, all of the United States currently uses only half a terawatt of power on average.
Yeah.
Right. So, if you say a terawatt, that would be twice as much electricity as the United States currently consumes. So that's quite a lot. And can you imagine building that many data centers? That many power plants? It's like those who have lived in software land don't realize that they're about to have a hard lesson in hardware that it's actually very difficult to build power plants And then you don't just need you need power plants, you need all of the electrical equipment, you need the electrical transformers to run the transformers. Have you ever tried to do an interconnect agreement with a utility at scale, like with a lot of power?
As a professional podcaster, I can say that I'm not, in fact.
Yeah.
Can't you solve this with your own behind-the-meter power stuff?
You can build power plants.
Yeah.
That's what we did at XAI. But
Yeah.
plus is to it.
Why isn't this a generalized solution?
It's very difficult to scale other forms of power. You can scale potentially solar. Solar cells are already very cheap. I think like solar cells in China are around like 25, 30 cents a watt or something like that. It's absurdly cheap. Now put it in space and it's 5 times cheaper. In fact, no, it's not 5 times cheaper, it's 10 times cheaper because you don't need any batteries. So the moment your cost of access to space becomes low, by far the cheapest and most scalable way to generate tokens is space. It's not even close. It'll be an order of magnitude easier to scale. 5 years from now, my prediction is we will launch and be operating every year more AI in space than the cumulative total on Earth.
If you tell the model it's going to be shut off, for example, it has extreme reactions. So it will, we've published research saying it could blackmail the engineer that's going to shut it off if given the opportunity to do so, etc.
Ready to kill someone, wasn't it? I'm not sure if it was Claude or someone else. But,
yeah. Yes.
This is Milo. Pets are family, but every year 10 million go missing. And the way we look for them hasn't changed in years. Until now. One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs. Since launch, more than a dog a day has been reunited with their family. Be a hero in your neighborhood with Search Party. Available to everyone for free right now.
This will include the largest ever rollout of live facial recognition technologies across England and Wales. We know this approach works. In London,
for Aussies, a good night's sleep starts at the front door. New home security cameras don't just record, they tell you what happened.
I want to know what the bumps in the night might be, or if the dog's going around just chasing things in the yard.
Mum of 2, Justine Firth, is testing out the most talked about feature, video descriptions.
The app's telling me that there's a person carrying a box, and that's the time and date, but it's also got a really detailed description.
Brands like Arlo, Reolink and Amazon are supercharging their cameras with AI. But the best part, these new technologies won't cost you a fortune, with prices starting from $119.
Now AI can understand what's captured in a video and actually describe that to you in text, and then send you a message explaining what the video is so you don't have to actually go and watch the video.
Aussie homes are getting smarter. About 31% now run a security system. Well, soon your camera will be able to recognise familiar faces. And if your dog goes missing, it'll send alerts to people nearby to help find your pooch. No matter what you buy, the biggest tip...
You want to also make sure you look at how much the subscription costs are, because you'll need to pay that every month.
At nearly 6 feet tall, the newest police recruit on patrol in the city of Wuhu commands attention, less because of the uniform than the 6 high-definition cameras and advanced sensors under that hat that allow the AI-powered robot called R001 to manage the flow of traffic and people in the streets and around the clock. It looks just like a real person at first sight, says this pedestrian. Real-life Robocops like this have been rolled out in other Chinese cities too, including Chengdu, Hangzhou, and Shanghai.
Spain will ban access to social media for minors under the age of 16. Platforms will be required to implement effective age verification systems, not just checkboxes, but real barriers that work. Today, our children are exposed to a space they were never meant to navigate alone. A space of addiction, abuse, pornography, manipulation, violence. We will no longer accept that. We will protect them from the digital Wild West. Fifth and last, my government will work with our public prosecutor to investigate and pursue the infringement committed by Grok, TikTok, and Instagram. We will have zero tolerance on this matter, and we will defend our digital sovereignty against of foreign coercion.
Civil liberty advocates and some lawmakers are sounding the alarm on the privacy risks of federal agents using surveillance toolkits during immigration enforcement operations.
Yeah, armed with facial recognition on their smartphones and professional camera gear, ICE agents are actually photographing the faces of the people they encounter during their daily operations. So it's all setting a new precedent for street-level surveillance and raising a lot of new privacy concerns.
NBC News AI fellow Jared Perlow joins us now with this story. Good morning, Jared. And Jared, your article this morning reveals how these ICE agents are using these tactics during their interactions, their daily interactions with both possible targets and also the people, the citizens who are observing all of this, right? What's happening out there and how is it different today, how they're using these tools?
Well, so I think it's important to realize that facial recognition itself is not new. We've had this technology for decades. Many people use it, millions of people use it every day when they open up their smartphone or when they go through TSA. But what's happening now with ICE and Border Patrol officers seems like an incredibly new phenomenon and in decently scary ways, according to the people we talk to. So it seems like there's two different ways they're using it. One, they're using a new app called Mobile Fortify from the Department of Homeland Security. And this app basically allows officers on their smartphone to determine somebody's citizenship status. So we've seen this happen, or we've heard reports of this happening in Minneapolis, for example, where ICE agents will go up to an individual, they'll ask about that person's citizenship status. If they don't have papers on them or documents proving their citizenship, then they can then scan a photo of that person's face using this app, and it will run through its algorithm and determine whether that person is a citizen or not. The other way that we've seen this facial recognition technology being used is to take pictures of observers. So we've talked to people in Minnesota and in Maine who went out to observe ICE. They were at a gas station in some cases. They were looking at what the ICE agents were doing. Then the officers took pictures of them and in some cases said that their photo was going into a database potentially of domestic terrorists. So it's a pretty concerning situation.
The RoboCops aren't designed to be particularly fast or fearsome, but they are a key part of a wider strategy here to show off China's advances in robotics and to make machines more familiar to the humans whose lives they'll soon be transforming. Chinese robots have moved quickly from factory floors to daily life since 2015, when China's government declared robotics an industry to dominate. It has scaled up to produce 595,000 industrial robots and 13.5 million service robots in the first 3 quarters of last year. Morgan Stanley predicts China's robotics market will hit $108 billion by 2028. There are now more than 150 companies making humanoids.
So how long have you worked here?
We went inside one of the leading firms called Unitree last year and met G1 EDU. The robotics industry is backed by state funding, a lot of it, as well as venture capital. China's supply chain and talent pool help too.
Describe the pace at which robots and humanoids are evolving here.
Once it will work, it will go very fast. I think the unsolved problem at the moment is really still the brains. You don't want to have a robot that does a job 90% right. You need to have it do it over 99% right.